good morning to anyone joining. We're just going to give it a minute, wait for a few more people to join before we get started. All right, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Before we get started, I'm just going to run through a couple of things on our end. Please note this webinar will be recorded, and all attendees will be muted throughout the webinar. And to ask any questions, please use the Q&A facility at the bottom of your screen. And if you've dialed as a guest today, you can view more information about becoming a member and have access to more events like this at www.sapusers.org/register. And if you have any questions, please contact us at support@sapusers.org. I'll hand over to Nick now, who'll be speaking on the rest of this webinar.
Thank you. So thanks to everyone for your attendance today, where in this webinar we'll explore how a combination of the Maextro framework and SAP BTP is helping our customers automate their business processes and ultimately derive smarter, faster, better supply chains by reducing complexity and cost. Next slide, please, Feroz. So for those of you that aren't aware of Bluestonex, we were formed back in 2012 by a group of long-serving SAP experts. And the company was founded to help the many frustrated SAP users out there resolve issues with the adoption of SAP and the easier use of SAP. The team initially focused on the kind of many prevalent UX challenges, and also they were focused on plugging the gaps with the existing SAP software stack. It became quickly apparent that one common issue was pertaining to SAP MDG. And this was seen as a massive opportunity for improvement, because certainly at the time, back in the mid 2010s, only the biggest global clients could actually find the budget in terms of millions of pounds or dollars, and certainly multiple years of complex integration work to deliver effective MDM and governance for SAP. So my colleague on the webinar today, Feroz, and his team created Maextro in 2017 as a simple configurable plugin to SAP designed to provide a low-cost solution. Because there was no code, it was all about configuration rather than complex integration. So if we look at where are we now, Bluestonex are recognized by SAP as a certified gold partner and also as BTP experts. And to the extent that in 2020, Bluestonex were inducted into the global SAP App House network of innovation experts in all things UX. So hopefully this provides enough evidence and assurance of our SAP credentials. Next slide, please, Feroz. So we provide at Bluestonex a wide range of services, extensive training, and every conceivable form of support. I think we also importantly provide advice and guidance on SAP licensing, so that we help our customers ensure that if they do need to purchase licenses, it is absolutely necessary and they will get swift return on investment. So we cover the full range. Next slide, please, Feroz. Over time, we've developed an extensive catalogue of apps, which means that you can save time, effort, and cost in delivering process improvement fast. And whilst Maextro as a framework initially focused on delivering effective MDM and governance, the framework now extends to provide wider business process management, including, and we'll cover it today, our business partner portal, which was designed to automate the onboarding of customers and vendors, and also ease the subsequent flow of orders and invoices and other processes. Next slide, please, Feroz. So as you'll see, by way of further examples, we've got many apps covering various different parts of an organization, whether it's HR or the support desk or finance, and you'll find full and complete details both on our website, where you'll find case studies, use cases, and also via the SAP store. Next slide, please. We've developed over the last decade plus extensive experience and knowledge of what works best. We've built up a kind of best practice based on that experience and knowledge. And it's been acquired from multiple sectors, which means that we can help our clients, our new clients, quickly and efficiently deliver process improvements, as well as faster revenue generation and significant cost savings. If there's a common theme amongst these many clients across the various sectors, I guess the theme is we've helped them redeploy teams of people on more productive and ultimately interesting work, because we've removed manual processes. And this has obviously had a positive impact on both cost and revenue generation. If we look at XP, for example, when we first started talking to XP Power, they had a global team involved in data management, data inputting, master data management, a team spread across the globe in the UK, USA, Singapore. As a result of adopting Maextro, they've managed to redeploy those staff. And in fact, that data management process now comprises of one part-time supervisor. So they've been able to generate big productivity improvements. BBC, interesting recent piece of work we've been doing with them, which might have some relevance to the audience. The last piece of work focused on a BTP license usage monitor, because we all know one of the issues with BTP is, whilst it provides many potential benefits, it hasn't necessarily been easy to understand the license usage. So now they have full visibility of users, usage, and ultimately this is provided protection from potential SAP license issues. Next slide, please. A very nice quote from one of our clients, Upfield. For those of you that are not aware of Upfield, they were formerly Unilever's global spreads and plant-based foods business. Following the divestment, Upfield had the challenge of replacing all of the systems that they previously used via Unilever. They had to either replace or replicate these systems that were licensed to Unilever. So faced with a multi-year and a multi-million-pound deployment of SAP MDG, they agreed to a trial of Maextro. They ran a proof of concept for 4 weeks, which was very successful. And much to the annoyance of their global SI, Maextro delivered more functionality across more data objects and was altogether faster. Rather than waiting years and spending millions, Maextro ultimately delivered at a fraction of the cost. And as you can see, 3 major objects fully delivered within 6 months. And this was in spite of the fact that Upfield had a mountain of business rules and processes. Next slide, please. BAE, another example of where we've delivered automation, removed manual processes, reworked duplication, and as a result, they've had big efficiency and improvements in both accuracy and governance and compliance. And one side benefit has been they've managed to ditch a sea of spreadsheets along the way. Next slide, please. So ultimately, Bluestonex have a mission to help organizations who want to have smarter, faster, better supply chains in order to reduce complexity and cost, to improve the data flow and the governance of that data. And I guess at a senior level, what we're trying to do is help them deliver and improve on both top line and bottom line numbers by virtue of automation. And we're trying to do all of this by simply offering a tool that plugs into SAP, written in ABAP, and it requires zero integration. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Feroz, who will look at the technical details and also provide a more detailed demonstration.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick. Good morning, everyone. A quick intro. My name is Feroz Khan. I am the co-founder of Bluestonex, a solution owner for Maextro. So today, in this webinar, I'll take you through what Maextro is, what is BPX, and a quick demo of the solution just to take you through end-to-end processes of BPX and Maextro. Before we jump onto the demo, I'll quickly take you through a few slides just to set the scene, just to set the foundation for the demo that I'm going to do it, so you understand what we are trying to show you or solve a problem here. Introducing BPX and Maextro, as Nick said, this is to address some of the issues which Nick had just mentioned just now. You know, the time it takes to onboard my business partners, whether it's a supplier or a customer or a vendor, onboard the products, and mainly the different systems that's involved in setting up these products or supplies. So BPX and Maextro, they work both hand in hand to address all the issues that Nick has just recently mentioned here. We'll quickly jump onto each of these and look into this, what the solutions are, and then jump onto the demo. So first of all, BPX, Business Partner Experience. So this is our tool which is developed on BTP using HANA DB. This is used for onboarding my business partners. So whether it's a vendor or a customer, it's a self-service portal for my business partner to come in and provide all the details that you need for onboarding a vendor or a customer. It provides all sorts of validation you would expect during an onboarding process. So for example, I want to validate my IBAN number, I want to validate a VAT account or a GST number or whatever it is. Maextro or BPX solution would do that real-time validation for you, so you don't have to do it once the vendor or the customer has supplied those details. It also has capabilities to do the whole product catalog integration, which is what we're going to be discussing and looking into it today. It has got other features around sales orders, invoicing, and other document extraction processes, but that's not the topic today. The topic is purely focused on product catalog, integrating it with SAP system. So BPX, in a nutshell, BPX is all about managing my business partners along with all the other things that you would normally do with your business partners, whether it be products, catalogs, products, sales orders, invoicings, and documents. Okay. And then Maextro. What is Maextro? So Maextro is our main master data solution, which governs and manages your SAP master data. So it's basically a gatekeeper for your SAP data, to put it in simple terms. But not just master data we're talking about here. It can also look after your transactional data, where especially where you need automation, where you need a lot of governance and approval process. So for example, you might need an approval for invoice posting. So Maextro is more than capable of taking an invoice from a business partner portal, putting it into SAP, but before you do a Mairo or a Maira transaction needs an approval, so Maextro would do it. So Maextro is a governance solution which is built on your SAP system. So it is deployed on ABAP stack to begin with. It's an SAP add-on solution deployed on ABAP stack, whereas the BPX solution is deployed on BTP environment. Okay, it's a process-driven framework. So what does it mean? Once you deploy Maextro, you can pretty much configure your own processes as per your business needs. It comes with predefined templates. So for most of the master data objects, Maestro supplies with predefined templates to govern that master data object, but you can also configure your business processes using that framework. You don't have to use the predefined RDS templates. It's more SAP centric because it's an SAP solution. It focuses more on SAP data, but having said that, you can also bring in non-SAP data element to it, which we'll shortly see in the demo as well. It covers a wide spectrum of objects, whether it's a master data object, as I said, or also it can also do a transactional data, follow-on functions and things like that. The whole purpose of creating Maestro was to remove legacy systems, SharePoint, Excel, or LSMWs, so to speak. So Maestro brings in everything into one big system and helps you govern, manage your master data. Yeah, obviously, it helps to improve the quality of the data once you have some sort of a governance system in place. Quickly, what objects do we have? We have various product, material, vendor, supplier. So Maestro covers all these objects, and it is licensed based on the objects. So if time permits, we will touch upon this later on. Why Maestro? Obviously, cost. Very cost effective compared to the other MDG, MDM products out there. Scalability, flexibility. By its nature, it's an SAP product. It's quite flexible and scalable. So as SAP evolves, Maestro does evolve as well, and it quickly adopts to the changing needs and requirements that SAP represents from time to time. Maestro, anything SAP adds, Maestro will be able to quickly adopt to that because we are an SAP product. You don't have to really do anything like you have to do it for non-SAP products. Qualified, experienced, competent team. Yeah, this is the most important one, which we see normally with other products. Now, Maestro is developed by a team who has lived through the pains of creating master data or managing master data or governing master data. So we truly understand the painful process, even though, it looks simple, creating a material master or onboarding a business partner. But we all know as SAP consultants how difficult it is and how important it is to govern. So we understand what it takes to create master data. We understand how critical the data is. So we are able to guide customers, to better utilize what you already have within your SAP system and govern the master data in most effective way. User experience is at the heart of anything we do because we are an UX company. You will shortly see in the demos I do, how we have developed these UIs as well. Okay, now before we jump onto the demo, I'm gonna quickly jump onto the demo now, but I would just want to set a process here to tell you exactly what we're going to be looking into the demo today. Okay, so we are looking into the two parts of the solution here. One is the BPX, as we said. The other one is the Maestro part of. So BPX, as I said, mainly deals with the business partner processes. So here I'm going to be not doing a vendor onboarding because the assumption is the vendor has already been onboarded, because the time doesn't permit us to do both the vendor onboarding and product catalog. So I'm going to skip through the vendor onboarding process. So we assume that the vendor is already onboarded via BPX and vendor already exists in your backend SAP system. Now the vendor then starts to create the catalog, or the vendor manager then maintains the catalog. So once the vendor or once the supplier or the supplier manager approves the catalog, it comes through into your backend SAP system. So the idea is you have a product catalog maintained on BTP. Now you want to take the products from the product catalog and create them in SAP. So I basically want to launch a product or sell this product. So as a supplier manager, now I'm taking all those products, pushing them into my backend SAP system, but not pushing it directly because obviously you need a governance around it. That's why it comes into Maestro first of all. So we have an API that takes the data from a catalog, creates a request in Maestro first of all, so that we could have a governance process in place. So it creates a request, then it will go to my finance department to do a bit of a checking approval of the data. Then once the finance have looked into the data, I need my MDM team to review that whether its data is correct. Now, once the MDM team reviews the data, they click OK, then Maestro BAPIs will then run and it will create a material master to begin with. Then also it will create my PIRs, which is purchase info records in SAP terms, and also then it will create my purchase pricing records as well. And if required, you can continue and you could also create purchase requisitions, purchase orders, and source list, and you can speak of all other follow-on functions that are there in SAP. But for these demo purposes, this is what we're going to cover today. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, without wasting any more time, I'm just going to jump onto my demo. So Nick, can you just confirm if you can still see my screen here?
Yes, Feroz.
Yeah. So I'm now launching my my BPX app. This is my Fury Launchpad via BTP environment. Now there's various tiles in there. I'm not going to go into each of those apps. I'm just going to focus on my BPX partner experience app. So this is I am supplier now. This is my app. So as an external supplier, the vendors would get a link to come on to BPX, so they can log on. There are various authentication security measures already in place, which we are not covering in this demo. So as I said, the assumption is the vendor is already onboarded. So I am a supplier, I am a vendor now. This is my area. I look at this data. Yeah, this is all my basic information. This is all my bank details, business contacts, attachments, and all those things. Now, if required, the vendor could also amend this and submit it. If the vendor amends any data and submits, it is going to create a request in Maestro to say, go and update the vendor record. So again, it follows an approval process. So we have a self-service vendor portal here. This can be used to update. If the suppliers wants to update their vendor information, they can do it as well. But as I said, in this demo, we'll just focus on product catalog. There are various applications within this BPX, like the sales orders, purchase orders, invoicing. So if time permits, I'm going to quickly touch upon the invoicing part of it, which is very interesting. But for now, let's go and quickly look at the managed catalog. So this is supplier looking at its own catalog here. Okay, so this is my catalog. I've got some sample products that are already loaded. There are various filters out here. It's a list view or this view. I can flip through this. So these are all my products. Now, obviously, as a supplier, I want to add more products to my this catalog. So I could either go and do an add manual one here. So I could go and individually start creating a product here, adding all those products, and I can also add an image. But obviously, this is okay when I'm doing one-off products, but usually our experience says is you are dealing in hundreds and thousands of materials or articles that you want to take it from the supplier. So normally a supplier would get an API. So if the supplier has an API that is possible to push the data into BP or into BPX, then yes, we can integrate that. Also, we have something called as an Excel upload as well. So we can ask supplier to fill in all the details in an Excel file, and we can upload it from an Excel file as well. So for this demo purposes, I've already prepared an Excel file, which I'm going to use it. So this is my demo template Excel file. I'm going to do it. Now, once I say upload, yeah, it goes and it adds these 4 products. So in my Excel template, which I can show you now, it has got all these products and it's got link to the images. Now, by just loading the product catalog from Excel, all these products are now available. Now, I could go into the details and start amending the details if I want to. Otherwise, at this stage, once this process is completed, a vendor manager or a supplier manager would receive a notification saying a new product catalog has been added. into the supplier portal. Okay, so as a supplier manager or a vendor manager now, I'll go into my review app. So here you can see straight away, these 4 new products has been added. Okay, so as a supplier manager now, I could go into each of these and start reviewing the product catalog. I can see, yeah, this has been added, and I'm interested in buying this product now from the supplier. So then I could start to put in my data, if required in here. And also, by the way, all these attributes that are collected, these are all standard out of box. But as a customer, if you want to amend any details, make some field mandatories or add more attributes to that, it is possible. You can do it via configuration option within the BPX tool itself. So as a supplier manager now, I'm amending all the details here. I'm checking all the details, and if I need to change any details, I'll change in here, and I'll continue reviewing these products. Okay, now obviously again we are talking here in hundreds and thousands. We again have an option here to download everything into Excel, and then you can do a mass correction and then upload it. But I'm done with whatever I wanted to do. Now I want to really create these products now in my backend SAP system and start procuring and start selling this product. So that's the key. So how do I do it? So I select these 4 products I see is of interest to me. I want to now go and create them. So what I'll do is I select these products and I say, send it to Maextro. Okay, so here then I say, yeah, you have to give a reference to it. It's a launch or it's a promotion that you are doing. Anything you're doing in there, you do it. So I've inputted a small description there just for tracking purposes, and I say confirm. Now this will then create a request in Maestro to onboard all these products in SAP system. So you can see here clearly a request has been created now. So if I just click on this, the status changes saying it's a Maestro interface. It also comes up with a CR number, and now I can start to track my process. So this is where I think customers have a problem where they lose that tracking, getting a product from a supplier and tracking them through the life cycle. This is where Maestro adds a value on onboarding those products. So you can clearly see now as a supplier manager, I can clearly see where these are in the life cycle. So as I said earlier in my slides, that we'll have a 2-step process here, one for finance approval and one for a final approval. So I can see as a supplier manager now that a request has been created, but it is waiting for a finance approval. Okay, so I'm able to now track my process using a BPX portal itself. Okay, now what I'll do here now is I'll log on to my Maestro homepage. Now the process has started in Maestro. Okay, so once you push the records from BPX into SAP, Maestro is taken over as a gatekeeper, and now Maestro is governing all the data for you. Okay, so I'm gonna now log on to my Maestro homepage. Also, if I'm a finance reviewer, I would also get an email notification saying there is a request for you now to go and action that item. Okay, otherwise I can just go on to my task list here. Okay, now in the task list you can see I've got an action open item here. Okay, there is a finance data approval step waiting for me to go and process it. Okay, so I click on this and I will then see what has been pushed into from BPX. So I can see there were 4 products that were pushed in. I can look at all the data for what has been pushed in. All I need to do then at this stage is mark status complete or view complete. And I can also look at some of the finance data. If required, I could correct it. Now, you must be wondering, how did I get all this valuation class, price units, and price control? Now, this is where Maestro rule engine come into play, because you can write rules in Maestro to say every time I'm creating this finished product or this article or this material type, I want the valuation class to be 7920, price unit to be 1000. So this is where the automation comes into play. So you are using the power of Maestro rule engine here now to automate the data creation part of it. Or you can start collecting the data from BPX itself. So if certain field values cannot be derived via rules, you could also add them in BPX itself. So let the supplier or the supplier manager provide all that information to you, so it flows seamlessly into Maestro. So there is a less of a human interaction here. So the idea is it's only a reviewer app rather than data collection app. So I can just review the data in here. And all I'm doing here is checking the data, status complete, and I'm submitting the task here. So I'm saying, yeah, approve the data. Now, as a finance manager, now I've approved it. Now the process then moves on. I'm on to now my final data approval piece here. But before we go there, we can then also look and go back. Sorry, I'm just going to launch my BPX portal again. So if I go into my reviewer app again, you can still see the status being Maestro interface. But if I go into track my request and look at this, you can see now finance data approval has been completed. Okay, and then the final data approval is pending, which is what is reflected here. So final data approval is pending. Okay, now when I'm going to go in here, okay, now this is an MDM team now looking at all the data views that are there populated via BPX. So I look at this. Yeah, I'm looking at the basic data. I'm looking at the sales data. These are all my material numbers that has been auto-generated by SAP using internal number range. Now I have to just flick through all the views. I'm gonna mark them as status complete or view complete, which means I'm giving my positive confirmation to this as an MDM team. Like I said, if you want to amend any data, you could also amend the data at this stage. But I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and then look at all the data. Yeah, I'm looking at the pricing condition also here. You can also create the pricing condition as part of this. So I'm done with all this. So at this stage, yeah, I'm just going to go and approve it. But if I wanted, I could also reject it back. So, there is a reject function also in Maestro where you could reject it back to any step in the process. So if I click on reject, then it'll come up with the reason code, and then you could reject it back to any step in the process in there. But I'm not going to do it. All I'm going to do is submit the task and click on approve. And then this is where the standard BAPIs will take over and will take the data from within Maestro views, and it will then create my materials and pricing conditions and PIRs or whatever you have defined within that workflow. Okay, so this is where my process ends in Maestro. So you have now taken the products from your business partner portal from BPX and interface successfully into Maestro using Maestro's framework engine in here. Okay, now the process basically ends here. So everything from my task list has disappeared. But if you, as I said earlier, also if you had few more steps to add in, few more checks or approvals required in there, you could have easily added in there via Maestro configuration to create purchase requisitions or purchase orders, or even purchase order approvals could have been done from here. Okay, now if you go back to my BPX now, I'll quickly relaunch this. Yeah, now you can see here this product now LED bulb 30 has been created, and I have got a material number back from SAP. Okay, so Maestro it works both ways. So first instance we saw BPX creating a request in Maestro to create that master data record in SAP. Then once the process is successfully completed, then it comes back into BPX to give you the status of it. And this is quite handy as well, because we see this a problem with other non-SAP solutions where the product catalog is maintained outside of your SAP system, and then eventually they are interfaced into SAP, but then you'll have to again sync back the data because the supplier manager or the vendor manager doesn't know what it is in your backend SAP system, because eventually that's your golden record now. SAP is your financial system, it is driving your revenue, so that's your golden record. So we interface back the numbers that is generated. So henceforth now, if the vendor manager needs to refer to anything, or even the supplier, the visibility is also there with suppliers also now to look at our own internal numbers in here. So even the suppliers can now going forward refer to this number rather than their own manufacturing part numbers as well. So the communication becomes a lot easier having a kind of a BTP SAP solution where both talking seamlessly to each other. Okay, so that basically ends the yeah, you can see here it has all been created now in your backend SAP system. So that's a short demo on how to manage your product catalog and do an interface with SAP. Now, if I need more, obviously the process carries on. I'll add more catalogs, I'll add more products to this catalog, and I keep interfacing it with my backend SAP. So yeah, I know it was a quick whiz through, folks. Hope it made sense and you got the gist of it and how BPX works along with Maestro. So what we'll do now is I'm going to take this opportunity to show you quickly on some of the other areas of BPX, and also on some other areas on Maestro where we were talking about how a low code or no code solution can help you here to do to manage your processes. So I'm back onto my BPX portal here. So this is now supplier say wants to submit an invoice in here, okay, or wants to submit a sales order. So let's look at the other areas around invoicing. This is again probably we need governance, but also need a seamless integration into backend SAP system. So what we are trying to show here is BPX working in conjunction with Maestro to govern the whole invoice processing. So what suppliers could do or supply managers could do is come in here and say, now I'm ready to upload my invoices. Now, yeah, I could do in bulk or I could do one at a time in here. Okay, so I click on that and then I'm just gonna use one of the invoices in here. Yeah, so that's that I've downloaded and one invoice for you just to show you. So now this is running in BTP and using a document extraction services. So what this solution is doing now, BPX solution, is taking a PDF file, or it could be from other sources or as well, but at the moment it is reading a PDF file. Now it's going to extract that PDF file for you, and it will now based on the confidence level, it will gonna now extract all the data from the document and give you in here what's the result of the extraction is. So yeah, based on the confidence level, yeah, invoice number is nearly 100% confidence in there. Yeah, I don't know the tax. So here you can amend the data if required. So if you think the currency code is wrong or the net amount is wrong, you can change it. If you want to change the invoice date, you can change it. Yeah, this is I'm doing individual invoices, but there is also a feature to do a bulk upload and bulk correction and bulk push of all of this. So obviously single invoices is not ideal for customers who are working in high turnover environment. So I can correct all this data, and once I have corrected this data, then I am now ready to submit the data into SAP. Okay, now when I say ready to submit the data into SAP, again, you can treat this as an approval, but if you need more approval steps in SAP, then you could leave this with the supplier as a self-service portal for supplier to upload all the invoices and push it. But then you have a gatekeeper as a Maestro there who is receiving these invoices, and unless somebody reviews these invoices in Maestro, it will not go through into SAP, which is a Maestro transaction. So yeah, I submit this. It goes and creates a request into Maestro, and then it creates a request, and then again it follows the same process what we looked at earlier around onboarding a material. It will follow the same process for invoice posting as well there. Okay, hope it made sense to everyone. So that was quick whiz through on BPX invoice posting. So we looked at the product catalog. We looked at the invoice processing quickly in via BPX as well. So I'm just conscious of time. I'm just going to take a quick 5 minutes to explain the architecture and the roadmap, and then we open the house for any questions you might have. Okay, so I'm going to jump onto my PowerPoint slides here, everyone. So quickly onto the architecture of this. Like we said, the BPX solution itself is hosted on BTP using HANA-DB. So and the beauty of this is if you already have an MDG solution, say for example, if you have an SAP MDG already running, you can use the BPX to interface to your MDG and govern those processes as well. Yeah, so we provide connectors, but it has a native connector with Maestro because it's our proprietary product. So we provide native connection to Maestro if you need to use Maestro to manage your product. But BPX can also from BTP hook into your MDG system and create the products in MDG for you to then take a process from there. So BTP as such is hosted on BPX is hosted on BTP. And Maestro UI5. So, the product Maestro, which is looked into, is also hosted on UI5. And then Maestro then connects from your BTP account using cloud connectors, gateways to your backend SAP systems or S4HANA or ECC, whichever system you have in place. Okay. The core Maestro is on your ABAP stack, as I mentioned earlier. It's part of your SAP add-on package. So SAP will host Maestro, and BTP will host your BPX and the UI, and then obviously the user can log on with using Fury Launchpad. Because they are all pure Fury apps, so it'll render on any devices you want, whether it be a mobile phone, iPads, or even on desktop. Okay, so that's a simple architecture. Quickly upon the roadmap, what some interesting stuff coming over in terms of BPX and in Maestro. So towards this end of the quarter, we are releasing an easy config option to configure much more rules in BPX itself. So we understand customers might have different rules they want to write on BPX itself. So as a supplier or as a supplier manager, I want to validate the data at source before you push it into SAP. Then we're providing all those capabilities in the near future for customers to create rules in BPX itself. Then the interesting one is the language translations as well. So we're going to hook into API services to translate this into different languages if required. So especially in the retail environment now, if you need to translate descriptions or text into different languages, then we're going to provide the capability out of box within BPX itself to translate it into different languages, and then eventually pushing those languages into your SAP or to your e-commerce sites, whichever you want to do it. So that's another important feature, because then that will, fill in the gaps, or the other system that are required to manage the product catalog. DMS integration as well. Currently, everything, the images or the attachments you load is loaded in HANA-DB at the moment, but we're looking to give you a capability to hook it up with SAP BTP DMS system. So all the artworks, images, and everything can be linked up directly with the DMS solution. And then the last one on BPX, we are adding APIs to push data. So as I said, the push to at the moment is to Maestro or to SAP MDG, but we understand there might be instances where you want to push the data from the vendor catalog or from the BPX catalog to other e-commerce systems, or other databases you want to push it. So we'll be releasing APIs to push or pull the data as well on that. On the Maestro side, we are releasing brand new UI5 apps that will also have capabilities to do mass uploads. So we're getting a lot of requirement nowadays to do mass processing. So kind of an Excel upload, download features and all those things. So do a mass change, mass create, and everything is coming in towards the end of this year. We'll be releasing soon. And then moving towards more around process automation. So providing a framework to do much more than just the master data now. So we see more and more customers wanting a solution to automate their processes using some sort of a workflow, but has a tight integration. So as I said, Maestro is not just about master data now. It can also manage your invoices, sales orders. Even for some customers, we have done the entire warehouse picking using the power of Maestro. We are also releasing a new UI for Align. So Align is another product from within Maestro family. We are releasing a new UI5 apps for it. So Align is basically looking at your legacy data and cleaning up your legacy data. That's Align. We'll touch upon it in some other webinars. And then, it's a Teams integration and gamification of this. So user would want to know the status of a request or want to trigger a request in Maestro via Teams chat. We'll also look at developing some sort of a prototype or release an early version of it to see how well it'll work with Maestro on that part as well. So that is in the pipeline as well. Okay. So that's about it. I stop now, dot on time, and I open the house for any questions we might have then. Thank you very much for listening to me with patience, and I hope it was a useful one.
We've got our first question here. My organization is on an S4HANA from ECC, S4HANA journey from ECC. Can you explain whether I need to re-implement the solution as part of my move and how much effort will be involved?
Yeah, so that is the beauty of buying an SAP add-on solution. So if it is a brownfield, as you migrate, as you do a technical migration, Maestro will also be migrated along with it. And BTP is BPX solution is independent of your S4 or ECC version. It's already on BTP, so you don't need to worry about it. SAP will take care of all that that is needed to hook into your backend SAP. But as far as Maestro is concerned, no, you don't have to re-implement it. It will be done for you as you migrate onto it. And the beauty of it is that the process will not change for you. So whatever, so if you decide to go ahead and do Maestro and BPX in ECC, and then migrate onto S4, you can take across all your processes, all your configuration onto S4, and nothing will change. Yes, if you are migrating to CVI. Now vendors and customers in ECC are called business partners. So some views will change, but you can still retain the overall process of it. Materials hasn't changed much in ECC and S4, so you can almost take like for like.
All right, and we've got another question here. How do you license BPX and Maestro?
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for the question. So we've tried to develop very simple pricing based around data objects. So it's not based on user numbers. It's not based on hardware. It's designed to be very simple, efficient, and low cost. So subject to a very brief discussion regarding requirements, we can provide the costs for a monthly subscription and also provide an indicative cost for services should they be required.
All right, and we've got another one here. Is this compatible with ECC6, and what happens when we do move to S4?
Yeah, I think I just answered one earlier. It is compatible with both ECC and S4. Yeah, if you do brownfield, greenfield, whatever you want to do it, you can take across Maestro to other systems as well without much of a pain.
All right, and can BPX talk to multiple SAP systems?
It can, yes, because the Maestro will have to be installed onto all those SAP systems depending upon your landscape and architecture. How do you want to do it? So if you want to push specific set of products into specific SAP systems, yes, perfectly, that is doable and that is possible using the APIs that we have. But Maestro will have to sit it into each of those systems.
All right, and another one is, how secure is my data on BPX?
Yeah, it's an SAP product. Yeah, obviously it's not hosted out. Yeah, on the third party systems. I mean, you get all the guarantees from SAP when you're hosting. We can share you all the security details, how the authentication works when we are onboarding all the customers. But because it's an SAP product, it's already governed through your SAP security policies and so on. So it's pretty secured on there.
All right, and our last one so far is, does this replace SAP MDG, and how does it interact with the process automation?
Yeah, if you decide to remove SAP MDG, you can, but no, it doesn't. So as I said to you earlier, if you have already invested in SAP MDG, and if you want to just hook into SAP MDG, yes, you can. BPX will just sit on BTP and talk to SAP MDG.
All right, and that seems to be all the questions at the moment. If there's any more questions, drop them in the box. We'll give it another minute. See if there's anyone else with any more. Well, there's no more questions, then we can end it a little bit earlier. So again, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Farrell, for this. Oh, there's one more question that's just come in now. Will this work on Rise PCE?
Yeah, so as part of as part of SAP Rise, what SAP is offering is BTP services. So if you go with BTP as part of SAP Rise, yes, we just come and deploy this for you. But if you haven't got the BTP, then Bluestonex will also provide a partner managed cloud BTP services as well. So we manage the BTP account installation and we look after your BTP. But if you're gonna get the BTP as part of your Rise, then we just come in and deploy Maestro in there for you.
Perfect. All right, well, we'll wrap it up there. That seems to be all the questions. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Farrell, and thank you everyone for attending today. And we hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Bye.